All right. So people. All right. The
Yeah,
first one um will be this. So you'll have three references eventually, but the top one reference is this yoga guy. That's number one. All right, people. Which has a 6 likes. I feel like that's the highest among the rest, right? The guy with the thick neck. That's the second one. And the last, not least, this granny. It seems like she has a 5 likes. These are three references that you can take and sculpt. Please share your screens. Have fun with that. And remember that this is a practice with a team kind of group. You just come here and you practice with the boys and girls and just sharpen your eye. These three. But when we'll have a prizes provided by Jhill, you'll have the time limits. And if you don't fit into the time limit, you're not participating in a prize. For this time, there is no prizes. Maybe though, Jay will provide something. I don't know. I'll ask him. But right now, these cool three references, you take those and you sculpt it. And I'll be watching your streams and commenting, and you can ask questions, and I'll be um, answering them, or maybe somebody else will answer that question, not me. I'll be just sitting here watching all that stuff happening, right? I'm happy that the people that are starting the sculpting right now, nobody have a red clay. I'm really happy to see gray materials. That's a good starting point, let's be honest. I wonder if somebody is using the red clay material. Starting
Yes,
out the
I'm
big
not.
shapes. No, your interface is fine.
Were you judging my interface?
Yeah, I'll be judging the people's interface. You like kind of have the I'll be
Yes.
rating. Yeah, I'll be rating it. So this is kind of low key. I mean, the weird flags you have like these blue materials, like move dots. They kind of have a blue hue. Well, that's kind of stylish, but other than that, it's fine. Let's go to the array. You know, the purple. I mean, is that a purple or like what's this color called in English? Or
violet.
or a velvet, whatever. Like no, not a velvet, violet. Violet. I mean, I'm not native in English, so. Right, the next one is ban. Uh, Basic, low-key stuff.
I have the default workspace.
Yeah, yeah. Free memory 2 GB, man. I'm so sorry for that. Let's go to the
Yeah.
Forg. The Forg, listening to Dua Lipa, which is cool. And has a lot of memory. Maybe you could give some to the ban, you know? Don't be greedy, Forg. Um, yeah, but pretty much basic interface with everything that you need. The NAM. Oh, wow, that's some like spaceship interface for the NAM. The man has a lot of stuff going on, like a rocket spaceship. Wow, you do you, man. Active memory. Alright, I see. And YOLO. Pretty basic. Feels like you took it from Jhill. I may be wrong. Alright.
I've actually also started with the JHIL one as a base and then modified it.
Yeah, that's what everyone does. Alright, so first we go. I see that nobody's taking that yoga guy. I see the big shapes. I see the heads. I see the bust. I see the thick neck, and I see the granny sculpts. And where are those people who was waiting for the yoga man? Anybody? Anyone sculpting the yoga guy? They are the trolls. Nobody's sculpting the yoga man, I'm sure. Ankita, Arman, Staleb, Dinky, the E, the Himanshu, the Karina, the Mirko, Naxi. Anyone? One thing that puts a smile on my face is that I don't see the dark to gray gradient on the background. Pretty much everyone uses the solid color, and I wonder what's Fork doing. What is that type of stuff? That's something unusual, let me tell you. Oh. Oh, I see. That's quite interesting.
Hey, how are you? Like working somewhere?
Me personally, for now, I will just eat. I'm eating right now, and I will watch you. I do have in mind to sculpt maybe like for 1 hour, or maybe like when I mean as I finish eating though. I might do that, and I'll be sharing my screen with y'all. Yeah.
I mean, like in a studio.
Ah, no, I'm a freelance guy. I like work a bit with Jay,
Okay.
with other people, and yeah,
How do we get clients?
that's a good question. My experience is that for like a year or so, or maybe even more, I like had no clients, and I just started 3D using Blender. I was modeling stuff primarily. I mean, that's how I got into 3D on the first hand. I was modeling stuff, and I had the construction work where I was working like with my hands, and eventually I left that job and understood that I mean, it's working on a factory, it's quite hard, and I don't want to do that. I'm gonna start learning 3D, and they are making the blinders for Windows. And I do remember when I learned how to like polymodel and make materials in like cycles. I made the blinder, like the solid body for which holds the blinder. And I messaged them and said like, hey, do you want me to do that for money? And they're like, hey, yeah, that's cool. And that's what I was doing on the first hand. I kind of leveraged the fact that I have people and I've been working with them. And I mean, it just happy accident. I feel like the journey in 3D is full of just these accidents. Like you just happen to have that person or this person around. And that's what I was doing for some time. And on other hand, while I was working and making blinders and like rendering them, I was studying anatomy and academical drawings and all that. And that's what like my passion is. And
Okay.
I got some skills and I started asking for the work. And I mean, for me, it's luck. I got at the moment consistent client that I'm working with. And on top of that, there are some other people that see my work and just like they see that I can do something for them and they message me. And yeah, that's how it goes. And with Jay, I just joined the server, and I joined it like when I joined the server on the J Hill. I wonder. Well, a while ago, I was just very active on the server, and I was like helping Jay, making some events, fun stuff, helping people with feedback. And I don't know how it happened, but I messaged Jay, and he said that yeah, I could use your help, and that's how I started making the events, the challenges. And I was always passionate about teaching people like anatomy, like gesture, the like philosophy and all that, shape designs, helping like beginners or intermediate level people who's like bought the course, enrolled, and like they do sculpting, and I tell them you need to tweak this, you need to tweak that, and that's very fun. I really enjoy that. For example, the fork, the guy, he enrolled to the server and we were like talking with him. He was making the cool Alan character. That was good stuff, and that's how I got paid too. It is quite challenging, to be honest, to be a freelance. I mean, from my personal experience, but the fact that you have free time and you're able to, do your work whenever you want to, it's great. On the other hand, if you lack the discipline and understanding that you need to sit and work straight and you don't want to and you like kind of postpone and stall, that's a bad thing. Freelancing has its own like pros and cons.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of making networks.
Yeah, getting good at what you like and getting the networking, I would say, yeah. I like asking. To be honest, when I was asking a lot, I got nothing in return, but one time I asked and I got that client that I'm still working with, and that was a cool stuff, kind of. But right now, most of the time I get messages from people who need my help. I'm not like desperately messaging others, but
Okay.
I know everyone's experience is quite different, so
Over
what?
the first hello everyone. I remember that you say that you watch Rafa Souza.
Yeah,
Have you ever translated?
no, I just understand it. Fala. Yeah,
Rafa is so good.
yeah. Rafa is amazing, and he kind of speaks in a way like you understand what he means. Like,
Yeah, really.
so I was just watching
Yeah.
him a lot, and like formas primárias,
Mhm.
like all that type of stuff. Like, falta formas primárias, falta structurización and
One second.
yeah, all that.
Can
Like,
you say
say what?
which one?
I mean, like, he's saying like the lack of prime shapes and primitive shapes is like lack of structure, is lack of believability and all that stuff.
Can you join my stream?
No, I mean, like, I don't understand him. I get the ideas that he's speaking about.
Yeah. I understand. You mean like this course, or
No, just YouTube.
you too? Oh.
For example, one Dynamesh or
Mm,
his streams when he speaks with the boys and he explains like the gesture, the point of inflection, the importance of silhouette, the
mm,
importance of working slow, rotating mesh consistently, all these kinds of stuff, right? And like working as low as possible, not going too high, not working too fast, like putting some conscious decisions behind your brush strokes, not going like la 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 la, like
mm.
sculpting crazy. Not doing that. And all that, that's what I got from him. And to be honest, he keeps repeating this stuff, and it's all the same, and it's just a matter of practice and remembering these thoughts and things, what he said.
So what is the main advice that you hear from Souza? The most important.
Primitive shapes, thinking of the objects that you read and sculpt, not as the arm, hand, or whatever, but as a cylinder, box, cube, as a melt of the primary shapes. Because if you have the structure, then it all like kind of comes together. If you don't have the structure, if you don't have this primitive shapes and foundation, like being able to digest what you see in the primitives and build of that, yeah. I think this is one of the. I mean, there are a lot of, but then keeping like the idea of the story, if that's something like artistic sculpture, right? And thinking about such concepts as, for example, if that's kind of smiling woman who smells the flower and she has a smile on her face, you're thinking about all the gesture that's inside of her body, like how like she's smiling and maybe like leaning her um shoulder to the right and inhaling and making her rib cage kind of expand, and all these kind of woohoo things, but it helps to kind of keep conveying the story that you're working on to keep like the project alive. That's maybe like too vague, but yeah, one of those. Or for example, the points of inflection. Like for example, if you look at the silhouette of the human being and you see like, I mean, even if somebody's gonna look at my stream, right? We can definitely see the, I don't know, the point of inflection on these sternocleidomastoidus
Yeah.
muscles and on the trapezius muscles right here. And this kind of silhouette plane change means that the volume 1 intersects with the volume 2, and this layering creates this point of inflection, like this almost 90-degree angle. All these things is important. And for example, even if you look maybe like at this yoga guy that nobody sculpts, you can see the point of inflection of the biceps going to the forearm and like the
Yeah.
brachii muscles. The points of inflection right here were the deltoid, and then there is like the lat muscles, like this intertwinement, like crisscrossing. Like all these dots, all these points, like this point, this point, this point, this point, they are the meaning behind, and you never see unreasonable silhouette. Every change in the silhouette means that something is happening anatomically, and you should be aware of that.
That's cool. And also, I learned that you have to understand the light in ZBrush,
Yeah.
light and shadow, how it affect on model.
Yes. I would say that for everyone, that the most true thing that you can get out of the ZBrush is the silhouette, and it is very beneficial to rotate your mesh to do analysis of the whole silhouette, because what you see inside of the mesh is not as accurate and is not as deep, because ZBrush is 2.5D software and there is no shot you'll get the right idea out of like your sculpture like inside. So the silhouette is one of the most important things for ZBrush, definitely. Without it, well, it's a bit difficult.
And also, Rafa said that you need to do, how can I say, strong things, like more artistic than the concept.
Mm,
Because if you do more artistic, it will contain more silhouette, and so a lot of silhouette. It's mean like the job is good. So
mm, don't really get the point, but I mean, sometimes
I
you
think
need
he
to execute the concept 100%, like if you work for someone.
yeah, that's you're right.
Like there's no, like for example, if you speak something about personal, for example, I have some personal projects I will show later that I was just sketching. There is like no limits for me, and I just explore it. But when it comes to like work, yeah, that's something to be aware of.
And what can you say something about improving sculpting? So what's your need?
Um,
Just consistency.
I would
Like,
say watching the shapes. It is like in the music. If you want to play jazz, you listen to jazz, and you learn
mhm.
jazz. And I feel like the same idea applies to the. Oh, hello, Dan. The same idea applies to the sculpting. If you want to, for example, my favorite sculptors are. I will butcher his name, Eustian Fournier or something like that.
Can you show? It's
Well,
interesting.
yeah, give me a sec. Like from the digital. He is from. I don't remember where he's from. I'll send to the voice chat, text chat. I mean, his shape language is incredible. And like the Gionakpil, Gluacoloni, Rafa Souza, that's from the sculpting. And from the drawings, I feel like number one is Frank Frazetta for me. And I
Oh,
watched,
this guy is cool.
yeah, and I watch like all these designs, and even in the real world, I go to the gym. I watch
Mm.
people, I watch positive and negative shapes inside of the body, and I take notes mentally about all that stuff. It is quite important, in my opinion. And practice, I would say, and just time. Like watching, practicing, and being patient.
Stream Speedsculpt. And these are the weirdest references I see.
Yeah, that's what people voted for. That's democracy in a nutshell. I mean, they were voting for that. Nobody, I think like maybe one person does the yoga. The other people do the faces. I'll be right back. We have 1 hour and 30 minutes, by the way. And you know what's good is, well, the speed sculpting itself is great stuff to improve your sculpting and kind of train your eye. But it is way better when you consciously doing analysis at some extent, like what you're sculpting and what you're copying, and trying to compare and do analysis like how thick is the neck or that thing in relationship to the other things and all that. It's quite useful to do because it's easy to get into the blind sculpting and not like, you know, like noodling. If somebody's playing instrument, like noodling when you not actually practicing. Then like that. Right. I'll just have a look at what's everyone doing. I'll be like jumping back and forth. Alright, I see the granny. I see the granny. One granny, one thick guy. Alright, I see the guy who's making the yoga. I think that guy's into yoga definitely. Or maybe that's, well, you got a star point for taking that reference nobody wanted to do. Like I'm so surprised people were voting for that just for sake of, I don't know, YOLO. Oh, alright. I mean, the MRCO is making some interesting stuff. Not gonna lie. That guy's fast. Who's this S? What's this guy named? Sakupata. What up, dude?
Hello.
Yeah, the OG. I was like wondering who's that guy. I have the low topology really liking when I can do the most with the limited topology stuff. Like not going too high. Like
Overall, do you ever feel like you get stuck at the very low topology stage, just refining and refining the shapes?
yeah, I do.
I feel that's the it's the other edge of the sword. Like it's really good to start that way, but
Yeah, but
you get stuck.
I mean, you eventually you kind of get that this is a part of the process, and like you just eventually kind of. I mean, if you do incremental savings and you see that over like 2, 3, 4 hours, you made like zero noticeable progress, I feel like that's a good time to press another division. Like I have this sculpt that I do. I mean, this is kind of sketch without any references, and I just play with the shapes. And I've been like sitting on this sub D level 3 for a while, but today I pressed another like subdivision, and I just continue to play with a bit higher division. And as I will exhaust this subdivision, I will go further, I guess. But I mean, there is a clear balance when you feel like there is a lot to do, and there is like you somewhat procrastinating over like just smudging shit.
Very nice shapes, though. I
Thank
like
you.
how
Yeah,
you
that honestly, that's
those.
something that kind of personal, and because when I was trying to find the ideas what I should sculpt, I was like going to the Pinterest, but I had enough of it, and I just sat and I just asked like, how can I bring my vision to life? Like, yeah.
Do you have any specific anatomy
Uh,
learning resource you would recommend
no,
besides
casual.
anatomy for artists?
Casual, like watching shapes, Rafa Souza, Gloa Coloni, Gio Nakville, mastering organic sculpting course. It is pre-recorded and practicing and I mean here's the thing that like this is kind of artistic bullshit or whatever. That's what I'm like kind of into, and I've been like learning the academical drawings before that, and that maybe helped a bit, but. Because sometimes I just look at the people like Sculpt, for example. I have a friend and he's making so anatomically perfect and cool that I'm just tired looking at this perfect anatomy and I just go to something abstract. And this abstraction is just, I feel like going away from rigid rules that you got. But eventually, yeah, you gotta learn some like. But I was using like the anatomy for sculptors and the same bullshit that everyone uses. That's kind of undeniably useful. Um, but issue with that is as you consume too much of the like anatomy for sculptors, you get the crochet and at the end of the day, not like the not like something believable, but something unbelievably
Yeah, I know
robust.
exactly what you mean because what I tried to do recently is get a 360 turnaround reference of reference packs from ArtStation to get a better idea of the pose. And what I found is that I tend to exaggerate the muscles to the point where they're not as believable. So I think that's because I've been looking at anatomy diagrams.
You've been looking at the Igor bro.
Yeah, and the diagrams that you don't have that
yeah.
feeling for softness and skin.
And for example, like here I intentionally, like for example, this sculpture I intentionally do most of the stuff like kind of bones and that stuff, but I will start blending. Like for example, I start blending here, for example, where they're kind of I start getting the feel of the skin that kind of stretches around and all that, and yeah, getting that idea. And I have the other work that I do. It was meant to be a self-portrait. Where is that stuff? I feel like this is the one. Yeah, so that was supposed to be a self-portrait. And before I got to these shapes, I had like I had a pause in sculpting. And like my friend told me like, bro, why you look so écorché, right? And I started like thinking, how can I like smooth the shapes and make them how you say that kind of calm and natural, whatever that is. Because like for example, before I would do like like this, and then I would do this, and
Exactly,
then I would do this, and I would do that, and then
they
here
don't exist
and here
unless you have
is
0% body
yeah,
fat.
unless I have like 0%, and I would have like all that stitched up, and I would have this, and that's just not interesting. I mean, that's the thing in art, though. If you look at the art piece and all the questions are already answered for you, and you don't have a room for guessing, that art is not interesting.
Yep.
And that's the thing with the muscles to me. Like when you answer all the anatomy structure, like in all the things by literally showing them, that looks boring, and that's why you better off to think of the fat and think of the other
And
things.
skin. I think fat and skin are the hardest things to basically sculpt.
I mean, you do the eventually you'll get that feeling when you kind of start. I mean, it's kind of trippy feeling. That's what I get sometimes when I start gazing at the sculpt and I kind of feel the image of how it's supposed to be, as if this was in real life. But you have to come to the point in sculpting where you're like kind of almost leaning to that side, and all you have left to do is to follow that vision that pops in your head. I mean, that's kind of personal for everyone. That's what works for me. I start like seeing the images, the glimpses of like where I should smudge and twist in order for it to go to that direction. But that's once again visual library and like mental library, whatever that is like watching things, watching people, digesting faces as you talk to your friends and all that helps.
Yeah.
Like you talk to a friend and you're like watching this sternocleidomastoidus muscles, like you're like, oh, interesting, and all
Oh
that.
yeah, that's happened before.
Yeah.
Or you see someone with an interesting nose, or
Yeah, like
just
start
like
start, start checking where that cartilage is starting and like originating and shit. Yeah, and I feel like my sculpt will be one mesh. Like I'm such a lazy, I mean not lazy, but I mean in this Speedsculpt I don't want to spend time like appending things. I better off to go over something like something simpler, like no appended eyes. Nothing is appended, though that's not like the rightest way to do, but that's just what I found works for me best. And to the end of the day, what I notice is that every human has its own personal shape language when it comes to sculpting. And it just happens that like you should feel that you interpret shapes or like things in your own way and don't get like too bugged out when you don't correspond, like you don't fully match the reference that you're sculpting. I do remember when I was sculpting the Yustian Fournier, this guy, or I was sculpting the Rafa Souza stuff, I was getting the other things. And the good thing that I learned is that when I was watching the documentary about the Frank Frazetta, the painter, that there were the people who was trying to copy his ideas, but I mean, there is the only one Frank Frazetta who can paint the way he painted. And it comes down to the point where it is about your shape language within the given concept, and it can deviate from person to person the way that you see and feel the shapes, and it's totally fine. Just you have to feel this balance between where it's all about you and the way you see the thing, or where you could really push and make things look more like the reference that you have at hand. Because like being too upset about that you're not matching the favorite artist is not a good thing, because that's just your perception of the sculpture that you do.
Yeah, that's true. And sorry to bring this discussion to AI, but I think that's why AI is going to die out eventually, because it doesn't, like, people who rely on it, they don't have that experience to uh, find their identity and the way they interpret it.
Well, there are ways where AI can be useful, definitely, but I mean, we'll see how things go, to be honest. When the calculators were brought to life and the people were saying like calculators is like you don't think and use calculator, etc. We'll see how things go. I see the pros and big cons. The I mean, we know about the big cons, but the big pros is that in some places it can be applicable, and when you use tools smartly, that's good. Um, well, can't say much about the I'm like it is happening, and the machine is kind of spinning the cogs, and you won't be able to stop that by like ranting how bad that is, or like just you know saying
Yeah,
something negative
that's
about it.
true.
Like there is no point for it, because well, it's all spinning, all working, all that. So just deal with that at some way that it is right now with us. And I mean, the good part about the AI is the chat GPT when I have the issue with Unreal Engine, and I like ask that stuff and it brings me the solution very fast, and the diversity of the solutions is so big that I find something that I was looking for quite easily. But that's kind of chat GPT thing. Uh, yeah, that's what I found useful with the AI stuff. And on the other hand, like the guild stuff about AI is that in other like technical things, if I'm not wrong, like the Tesla is a controversial thing, but I kind of enjoyed watching how AI machine learning. I mean, there was the accident whether the vehicle that's on autopilot should go to the left and to the right and damage more people or less people, like damage the car or the people, or like whatever. Like all these calculations were based on AI, and that's a good part at some extent that I can see AI is a good thing. Like in this kind of domain, it's cool. But when you talk to the artistic one, yeah, there is a lot of like nuances to it. I was like jumping back and forth right there. Hello, people who's joining. So let's have a look at the Andrew who's sculpting the granny.
Yeah, I kind of lost a lot of time on hair.
Yeah, I think that you could have like what you do you. I'm not
True.
gonna
No,
tell you
no,
what
no.
you're
Say
supposed
it,
to do.
say it.
No, I ain't saying shit. Borg is sculpting the guy. And yeah, that's the thing that everyone does. Like you do your own approach and you refine it eventually. And I mean that. Oh my God, Marco is making yoga granny. That's so good. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We got the winner. I'm sorry, but you know, we got a winner. Already got a winner. Yeah, and Saku, don't forget to retopple this guy and then UV unwrap, texture, bake, and then XGen and haircut, and
Yeah,
then
he will.
and then bring it to Unreal, rig, animate, put on
Don't
the
challenge me.
put this on the UV marketplace, make a lot of money, buy house, and because you still have the 1 hour, so yeah, I have plenty of time. You still have time to do that and buy yourself a house, I guess. Well, if anyone wants to hear my couple thoughts yapping about what you do, you can say, yo, look at my stuff and tell me. Otherwise, I'm not saying anything, all right?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
you were about to say something about my stuff.
you want to?
Yeah, sure. Go on.
Yeah, can you zoom out? Yeah, I feel like the hair that you could do for Granny as a one blob of clay, that's what I would do. And not like go crazy. Like I would have the general volume of the hair, and I would make couple breakages by using the snake hook with the AccuCurve to break the silhouette, and that's what I would only focus on. Other than that, it's looking lovely, and that's all I wanted to say about your stuff.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I kind of got lost in.
Yeah, I mean that. So when I was I mean, here's the thing that there is like meticulous thing about it, and so some people don't want to go into that. But if we go into this, I can say a couple of things. When I was doing the academical drawings, the teacher said that there are different kinds of drawing types. Well, because that was kind of more like serious approach to the drawing, because he was like teaching people how to eventually enroll into the like universities for drawings and stuff. And he said that when you have the intention, um, when you start sculpting or you start working, you should have intention, ideally, if that's something that you do professionally, right? Intention. And what is your intention is to capture the character, for example, or the capture the likeness, or capture the shape design, or capture like all these bit by bit, but you have to have a plan. And for example, sometimes you can describe a painting with the one simple shape, for example, or like, but something that corresponds in terms of the character. And for example, if you have that idea in mind, using the using some like in drawings pencils, fancy pencil and stuff won't help you. And the same way, using the hair tubes and stuff, or like for example fiber mesh in speed sculpting, it won't really help you to convey the believability, or like to catch the character shape, because you can catch the character, the shape designs, the mood of the reference just by sculpting it and using the primitive brushes. That's the same stuff with the drawing, that you don't need nothing fancy um, when it comes to simple stuff. And when you answer yourself, for example, I want to do this drawing, and from this drawing, I want to capture the good, I don't know, the character. So you look at the drawing and you look at the reference, you get the same feeling inside of your gut. But like, see, yeah, they are the same thing. They can differ in terms of the brush strokes, in terms of the maybe proportions here and there, but eventually you get the same feeling out of that. And it's quite important because you can have the caricature of the famous people, you know, like funny drawings, but they manage to capture the essence of that person quite good. Though they proportionally like they kind of far apart. I hope that makes sense. And I'm just for using your time wisely when you really want to learn from like sketching. And using time wisely means not using weird props, like one or more subtools are partially hidden. So yeah. Yes, I do remember when the boys were using like fiber mesh in the Speedsculpt, and I'm like, do you really want to? I mean, I'm not like preacher or teacher. But that's quite unnecessary time spent, in my opinion. So yeah.
Yeah, who was doing that using
I
fiber mesh?
don't remember. I mean, that was just a guy. Like, no offense or whatever to him. He was just doing this way. And I was like, well, you have 2 hours, and you can just block out kind of casually your stuff. Why would you do the fiber mesh? Like, what's the point of fiber? I mean, on the other hand, though, if he had an intention, like, oh, I want to use the fiber mesh um for what? For sketching purposes, and I want to use fiber mesh quite fluidly so I kind of can get the result fast, then that's the other topic. Then there is like no props with that though. I mean, good for you, bro. Like really, like my respect. But if it's just, you're just stuck in fiber mesh because you don't even know why you're using it, that's kind of weird. But if that's intentional, good for you. Like if that's kind of intentional shit. I mean, if everything that you do is with intention in mind, I feel like you're good to go. Like if you like taking the pictures of the trees at 12 a.m. every day, and you do that intentionally, like good for you, bro. RGB dark. Right, let's have a look at those people. We have the 54 minutes, by the way. Mhm. An important note, when you feel like submitting, you have to send your reference to the same Speedsculpt channel. Just one post image, alright? So for one guy is one post. You can put the multiple image, but within one chunk of the message, alright? That would be sweet. Hope that you understand that.
I have a question.
Yo, hello.
Yo, hello. My English is not so good, but I can understand maybe. My question is the I saw a internship in a company, but I don't have the experience. I like a year ago I learned 3D, and I don't know if I apply or not. I wait or no say.
Well, most of the time, those internships needs like you need to be some sort
Apologies,
of
I'm here. I had to
um
step back.
in some sort of degree, maybe in the university or academy of 3D.
Yeah, I have a degree of university, but I learned 3D in the university, but I don't have a degree of animation or something like that.
But you need to be like be studying. I mean, in the
I'm
career, you need to be
okay.
mostly like at the end of your career to be able to apply in those uh, internships.
Okay. Thank you.
Wait, what do you mean at the end of your career? Shouldn't it be at
I
the
mean,
beginning?
when you're in the university, my English is not that good, so I cannot find the words to put in that.
Oh,
But it's kind of like you finishing your university stuff like in last semester, I think that's called.
Yeah, in my experience, it's usually either done after you finish or in between the second and the third year.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can, you either get help from your teachers, from your tutors, or you do it by yourself. But yeah, usually uh, internships are for graduates. And if you see the uh, you know 3 years of experience needed or stuff like that, they're just saying that to discourage people who don't believe as much in their skills or think they're not good enough, just so they don't get swarmed by applications. But I think if you want to apply, you should apply if you are a graduate. Um, so yeah, because if you don't apply, then you
If
have no
I
chances.
graduate of my career, I can apply or
So if
not.
so, did you say you graduated?
Yeah, and one curve I one curve left, but I'm kinda graduate.
Okay, so you're close to
Yeah,
graduating.
I'm close to.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying video game design.
I think that you can apply to the internship.
Yeah, so if you're doing video game design specifically, that would be less art related. But are you doing just video game design or is it more of a general video game course?
Uh, you can repeat, please.
I'm sorry, I had emergency. I'm here with you people. Sorry for that.
No
Hi.
worries. Yeah, so I was asking if your course is general or about video game development, or
W-
is it
Uh,
game design
I am
specific?
develop games. I am a game design. I I recently have a passion for 3Ds and make my portfolio in 3D in 3D characters and environments.
I see. So you want to do environments and characters.
Yeah, and the internships I saw it's interests me.
Yeah, so if you've for how long have you been doing characters and environments?
A year ago,
A year.
yeah.
Uh yeah, I'd say, I mean, I'd ask you to send me your portfolio if you want an opinion, because it's hard to say just, by how long you've been doing it. Some people develop more in a year, some people develop less, but yeah, if you
Okay,
want an opinion, you can DM
yeah,
me.
yeah. It's
Uh,
it's
But
nice.
as a rule of thumb, to end on that note, it's good to apply for internships after you graduate or
I
during
have
your
a
studies.
interesting question about portfolio. Like sometimes ago, I've have lessons about portfolio, and my teacher like starting to question about if I should post and share my portfolio as like on the website ArtStation or create my own. And I was like, but more people in YouTube and more professionals like just using ArtStation. But my teacher has an opinion about like uh, if uh, if we just
Uh, you save me to make my portfolio in ArtStation, no?
Honestly,
No,
I
no, no,
put
no.
my 2 cents?
Yeah.
I feel like if you're good and somebody sees your work anywhere, you'll get a job. That's it.
Ah, okay, okay.
Maybe is it
I
true?
mean, here's the thing that that's my personal. I'm not saying I'm not good, and I'm
Mhm.
like doing my best within like the context that right now war is going in my country, and I like do my stuff. I get some gigs from people that saw my work and stuff. But I feel like if you did something dope and you put it somewhere and you like promote it like on the different platforms, and I mean there is the skills, there is anatomy, there is like whatever you do and you're passionate and there is like actual stuff to it, I feel like you're good. And that's just to me personally that maybe I'm wrong. Who the hell am I to say? But that's just my take. But I feel like that's overthinking. Like where is supposed to
Yeah,
like if you're good, if you made the like dope character, for example, if you made something on the level of like I don't know, like the flex the Jay did. That's my favorite character from Jay. Like if you did the flex and you put it somewhere, I mean you're good. That's it. That's my take.
okay. I publish in different social medias that you say.
Uh, like posting somewhere where you just want to and people could see your stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, here's the thing that's my take, and I am the guy who's doing printables, sculpting things, teaching anatomy, and I'm not like in the game industry at the moment. I have my characters cooking, right? Slowly,
Okay,
surely,
okay.
and stuff, but I'm not like in the game. Maybe there are some like different stuff, but that's just my observation through like being with around the J and like listening to J for years and to other experienced artists and stuff. So my take is if you're good, man, you're good. If you kind of can pull off the cool stuff, that's it. You got it.
Thank you so much.
Like just be
I
really like focusing on being good and afterwards exposing your artwork, your skills to the other people so you can get noticed is enough in my opinion. I mean, but here's the thing, that's one more time, that's not a absolute answer. That's just my take. That's what I feel.
it's difficult to how I say how I know when I good enough to apply a job, or maybe I get some experience personally with my job.
I feel like
I
you can
can
apply it
ask.
to everywhere always. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the thing. Like you can apply right now to the Naughty Dog, but here's the thing that it depends on your skills. You'll get mostly like rejected. I don't know, like at your level, whatever that is. But you can apply it anytime, everywhere. Uh, if you want to work in Naughty Dog, you should have in your portfolio that kind of corresponds to the Naughty Dog stuff, and that kind of increases the chance of you getting in, I think. Um, yeah, I mean,
If I
Okay.
can
And
just jump
if
in a
we
bit.
don't
Yeah.
go for a triple A companies like or indie
Yeah,
company, so
more
what?
indie is my interesting. I do cartoon stuff.
I can
And
answer. Like my teacher, another teacher,
yeah,
like say that just through your portfolio anywhere and just you can get a feedback about your portfolio.
oh yeah, that's another
It's
thing.
it's a
True.
worst stuff is just they don't reply to your portfolio and that's it.
I heard that. I heard that a lot.
So,
Is the is a good stuff to do. What a word? A feedback to get a feedback if it's a good stuff in
Yeah. I mean
when you apply or
that's
something.
like, yeah, like even like you're asking Jay, like for example, do you remember when Jay was like helping out me? Like I was humble, I just messaged him like, yo, sir. I mean that was long before. Like, could you like have a look? And he said a couple things and I got some insights and I kept working. I mean, most of the artists, and I do remember I messaged, right now we have friends, I messaged this guy, um this guy about his skin pores. Maybe like some of you know that guy. He responded and he kind of told me all the stuff that he's like his pipeline and stuff, and that's it. Like you're asking and you getting answers. If you're being rejected and like or being ignored, that's just that's fine. That's
That's
fine.
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Thank you so much for the advice.
Yeah,
I will
and
take
do you remember
a
do you remember on the first hand why you started making that the 3D? Because hopefully that's kind of interesting stuff to you. Yeah. Keep being interested in 3D.
Also, I wanted to add what helped me the most getting into the industry was looking at other people my level and who were junior level and got hired at kind of the companies I wanted to work at. So that may be different for you. Like you said, you do more stylized environments characters. So look at who gets hired in those companies at your level. On LinkedIn, it's very good for that. Just go on that company, see the people that work there, and
LinkedIn
look.
is good.
Yeah, it's good. So look at the
Oh,
company and look at the juniors, and then look at their portfolios. And basically, that's what you should aim for.
okay. Thank you. I will do that.
Hi, could I get some feedback of my sculpt?
Sure, sure. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, you was making the guy with the big
Yeah.
neck. All right, so I feel like let me jump. The proportions is the first thing. For example, the distance from the bottom lip to the chin, like the width of his eyebrows and amount of the fat on the cheeks. Um, they are different. For example, your is wider. Your character
Okay.
feels wider than necessary. For example, you see my screen right now, right?
1 second.
I'm hover.
Okay, yeah.
So as you can see, like for example, right now they're gonna be approximately in the same scale. You can see the like look at the shadow and the light at the moment, and you can see in your case the distance here is like that, and in his case the distancing here should be something like his hair. I would advise you to add the hair eventually to have
Okay.
this kind of boundary, right? Another one is you see that your mouth corner lips are kind of smudged and it feels like, well, painted mouth, like doesn't feel as deep. Another one is that your structure and the distance of this glabella area is quite different. I mean, if you jump with your eyes, you see that the distance here, distancing is quite off. The width overall of the face, I mean, this is kind of like the basic proportions. And also, I feel like you're going too high with topology. If you look at my character, without the poly paint, without anything, you can see that it is 200,000 polygons. And also, I can share this model with everyone who might need it. I will just drop, where is this? This is the one. This is my sculpt that I did. This is the FBX model I sent to the events chat. Yeah, I feel like the sternocleidomastoid is going too outwards. If you look at the silhouette of his silhouette should be something like straight line, then angled line here, that going like that. And from this side too, it should be just one continuous S curve. Nothing like wiggling left and to the right, you see? And
Okay.
and the reason why you get a lot of like wiggles is because you go too high in the topology. You really can do a lot with the little polygons, and you should subdivide and go higher only in the cases when you feel like, oh, I don't know what to add to this. I don't know how to push through. I have limitation of the polygons. That's the only case when you want to go higher on subdivisions. To sum up, I would say the proportions low topology, watching the shadow and light changes, and the amount of like distance between the tip of the nose to the lip, from the bottom lip to the chin, all that stuff, watching relationships. And that's pretty much it. Quite a lot, but hope that you got something. If you don't understand something what I said, you can ask questions and I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, I understand. Thank you so
All
much.
right, you're welcome. Keep on going.
Thank you.
And here's my guy in a principle, in a Blender. I will try to render it. I'll try to render that stuff.
How much time is left?
It is 30 minutes left.
All right.
Tun, 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 tun. Tun, 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 tun. Maybe I'll use the HDRI though.
Hey, Huff, would
Hell-
you mind checking my scope?
Yes,
possible.
let's go, bro.
Thank
Like, give me
you.
a sec. All right. So who's speaking?
Borg.
All right. Frog. Could you put it into the same angle, please? No, he's. Oh, you have it flipped. I'm sorry. I feel like your traps area and the volume of the ear is missing. Like, even like you don't have to like make it accurate, but just make sure that, for example, like look from the distance, what is the volume of the ear? It feels like this is the rectangular that has this kind of rectangle, and then there is like swoosh going, right? And it's like more elongated. In your case, it feels shorter, definitely shorter. And like in relation to like your ear, length of your ear in relation to, it feels like you would want it to take the top part and raise it up a bit. That's the first one. Another one is let me put things straight. The structures of the lip. As you can see in my sculpt, it's not perfect, but how it goes is that, I hope that you see my sculpting right now, is that you have the donut here, and then the upper lip going inside under this donut, and then you have this lip. So you have this kind of structure, like this stuff, and then there is like this volume, right? And all this. In your case, like this structure is broken, and it feels like there is no such volume at all. I don't remember the name of this bump here, but that's quite important to capture this. And in your case, it's just a continuous line, and that boils down to sculpting once the planes of head for yourself. Like, take a blob of clay, like as a practice for yourself, and Google planes of head, female or male, and nail those transitions, and that will help you immensely capturing these type of things. Also, I feel like you look too far from the bottom. I feel like you could rise him a bit. Yeah. The structures like zygomatic bones, for example, the temporal lines, like having more structure. For example, if you look, I mean, mine is not perfect, right? But as you can see, I have the orbit of the eye. I have the zygomatic bone here. I have the temporal line here. I have the chewing muscle, temporalis. I think like that's how it's called. I have the frontal eminence here. I have like this area of the glabella. And I got kind of all that structure and maybe like a bit lash out the zygomatic muscle. So you get this kind of structure for yourself, right? That's what I would wanted to see, and that stems from understanding the skull structures. In your case, it feels like kind of there, but missing the bony landmarks that I would love to see. For example, your temporal line feels like not on the place and feels like too much of the forehead exposed. And if you look at the spot of the forehead, in your case, the way the forehead looks, and in his case, feel like you're wider, and the design of the shape that you choose is a bit odd. I will ping you in the text chat here. Hope you'll be able to see that difference. And for example, for the nose structures, I'd love to see simplified plane here, and then the plane goes to there, right? The plane change. Would love to see more structures. Oh, oops, I didn't mean to put it in there. Oops. The plane change of the nose, for example, right? I'd love to see the more defined plane change where it goes to the like how you call this, masseter, like chewing muscle, like this plane change area a bit more. I would say that using primitives as the connections, using primitives as the ways to describe the face is a good idea, and you need to have it in a more primitive build-up way. So you have like the cubes, spheres, triangles, plane changes quite defined. Yeah. Is something clear from that?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Think simple, and you have decent amount of topology, and think of planes. Think of planes. For example, when I was sculpting, I was thinking, you see my screen? I was thinking,
I can see your ZBrush.
oh no. All right, my ZBrush. When I was sculpting, I was thinking like about all that, about this structure, right? About kind of this assembly. As I established the bigger proportions, I was thinking about this part, right? About this spot, about this spot, right? About kind of this big volumes. Then there's like these zygomatic muscles, and then there is like this breakage that goes and kind of, you know, creates this plane. I was simplifying it into the planes and bringing the structure to it, so you can see the defined breakages. And my bad is that change window screen, because I was already in Blender doing doing the render of that guy. Yeah, depth of field, that guy. I would say that the best thing that you could do for yourself is to sculpt planes of head and do male and female, and that you will have the roadmap of digesting everything that you see for yourself. Yeah,
can you repeat, please?
Planes of head. For example, you can go to the Pinterest and you can write planes of head, like simplified planes of shapes of head, and there is basically answered stuff for you, like how you should digest the stuff. And a good thing about the color management is that you can control the contrasts inside of inside of ZBrush, and you can do a lot of post-process. So that guy Nazar, I mean that artist, he gave me a kind of class on look depth, and honestly the lighting is so crucial, and it's so important that when it comes the time to light things, you better spend some time really putting some attention to that. I mean, I already see that I screwed up a lot of things, but well, I did not capture the vibe because feels like the guy should be buffier and thicker, and mine is not as. But I kind of made an effort. Well, yeah, it's so awful that mine is not as thick as it's supposed to be. But such is life. Such is life. My friends. 18 minutes, by the way. 18 minutes. 18 minutes. 18 minutes, by the way. I'll do this.
Hey, sorry, I might have to leave a bit early. Where do we post
You go to the same place where you took the ref on the first hand.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. And thanks for
Yeah,
hosting. It
thanks
was
for
really
joining,
nice.
man. More stuff to come. Jay will be there and all that. Today is just, shaking things up.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
good. That's good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, good luck with the
Yep.
rest.
Yep. Thanks, you too, man.
See ya.
See ya. And as you can see, like maybe some of there can like find this useful, that you can use curves to control our RGB stuff. And you're able to kind of manipulate the curves to get the kind of looks that you're looking for. And right now I'm kind of balancing things out and seeing like how can I. And I feel like I should have the same stuff, but as the area light, and it should be a softbox that kind of reduces the shadow. And it shouldn't be as bright, but just like making things lit. Honestly, I just scale and I just smudge him in x-axis and he looks better as I made him thicker. Like, look at that. I just squeezed him. And save as 1, 2, 3. And I will submit. I will submit first. Ooh, that's a nice granny. Honestly, I would take the glasses and I would lower them in value to darker color just for funsies. And also I would use the toy plastic on the glasses, I think. Technically, possibly. But that's something just my couple cents. I feel like, and Ari, look at me, Ari. When you are making the hair and you want to kind of fake that vibe, you want to use the biggest brush possible and you want to like think of it as an organic thing and not as something mathematic, because he was like making these brush strokes and
Yeah.
they have even spacing between the brush strokes and it makes it look robust. But when you like kind of get loose and you make the brush bigger and you create the happy little incidents, and then within these incidents you kind of find the logic and you kind of can dig into that logic and you can start like making some of the refinement based on the noise that you accidentally generated, if that makes sense. So you have fun, you explore with the big brush strokes, you get some interesting shapes, and within these shapes you kind of clarify them just a bit, because that's important to unlearn yourself from seeing organic things in a robust way, because organic things are not 90 degrees, are not parallel, are not having the same array distance between the organic shapes. every organic shape's arrayed a bit with the offset. There's like no, there is like no perfect repetition in organic thing, I would say. And here's the thing. You can, everyone who's here, we have 10 minutes left. You can push your stuff further and spend like 5 hours on that. And more to that, as you submit your stuff to the Speedsculpt submission, I will record one video responding to everyone who sends, hey, here's my submission, I need some feedback. To all the people who will leave that feedback needed message, I will consider you and I will give some feedback afterwards after we finish the translation. For now, officially, for hosting this event, 10 minutes left. That was a good one. That was a good one. I'm happy that some people came, some people learned, some people got something out of that. It's cool. Yeah, as you can see, the Saku is not as lazy as I am. 10 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. How about adding some surface scattering? Oh yeah, I did the surface scattering, but honestly, the fact that I did not nail the vibe check, I can say that it won't help me. Yeah, I did some scattering stuff. I think that I should use Marmoset because of the tracing stuff. And the fact that you can so easily add the subsurface stuff, the tileable normal maps. Damn, who are those people who is joining and leaving and joining and leaving? Like, what the hell? Like, what is that going on? Yo, Ford, how do you enjoy the course so far?
Very kind of happy with it. And I
Right.
regret that I didn't took the Pro 2, I think, level because
Oh, I
of
see.
the 10-hour like one-to-one
Yeah.
course. But yeah, I'm definitely pushing myself to do something that I wouldn't do during my free time, so it's cool.
Yes.
And yeah.
Sweet. Alright, fellas, 5 minutes, and we wrapping things up, and we'll be good to go. Because time is a valuable thing, in this world, and yeah. Wait, is that the guy who is joining and leaving? Is this OMS3R? Like, these pings is so damn annoying. I like that Yolop is using the separate mesh for the nose and hiding it behind the glasses. That's clever.
I'm like, I don't know how to load it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It can support the like ZBrush to zero mesh it all, and
well, anyway, it
I'm
works.
a little bit scared. Yeah, like if it's work, don't touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it. Damn, this guy reminds me of Smash Mouth. Like, literally. Like, this guy, look at that! Sako, look at this guy. Don't you think that he kinda looks like him?
Who?
The Smash Mouth. Like that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, kinda.
He really looks like that guy. If you add the glasses, like this black glass, that look fun. And yeah, you nailed it, the color tone, because I got my eyes too warm. Like, what the heck? The heck? Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming. I will keep in touch with Jay, and like as I said, he messaged me a couple days ago and he said like let's keep cooking. And I said, yeah, like, why not? And I'll be hosting more of that stuff. I feel like that would be cool to do every week, but we'll see. I mean, I'm like working and sitting at home. I don't do much.
I think I will just leave it like that. Where is the submission?
Submission is the Speedsculpt volume for where you took the ref from.
Alright.
Alright, fellas. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sculpting. Thanks for practicing and getting better at sculpting. Thanks for talking, and I'll catch you next time, and maybe I'll manage to ask some gifts from Jay for the next time, because when he messaged me like 1 day ago, I immediately like, today we are sculpting. No prizes, unfortunately, but the best prize for you today is that you get better at sculpting. You should be aware of that. Thanks for your attention, and see you later.